And so now we're recording, and we're going to start sitting today. So you could sit on a chair. You could sit just, cross-legged on the floor. You could sit up on a blanket. Whatever way is comfortable for you to sit. You do not need to be sitting down on the floor. You could be sitting on a chair if you like. But find a way to sit comfortably. If sitting with your legs crossed isn't comfortable, stretch out your legs. Whatever you want to do, just so that you're in a seated upright posture. And as we come into a sitting posture, let's think about our sitting bones. You might kind of gently rock a little side to side so that you can actually feel them. And then think about sending your roots down from your sitting bones down into the ground, as if real roots, long, deep tap roots, like the root of an oak tree really goes down very deep. Send those roots deep down into the earth so that you're grounding solidly from the foundation of your spine so that your spine can be supported as you sit up nice and tall. And as you ground down and sit up tall, just maybe even put your fingers on your collarbones, find your collarbones, and imagine that you're broadening them out. Like just kind of slide your fingers across your collarbones and feel them broadening, inviting your shoulders to be nice and open, not necessarily squeezing them back, but just cultivating space across the collarbones out to the shoulders. And then your hands could be resting on your knees, or your arms could be down, whatever's most comfortable. And whenever we think about sitting up tall, we often lift the chin. So let's just let the chin ever so slightly drop down so that there's space in the back of the neck. You can think about the back of the upper part of the back of your head lengthening up rather than the chin lifting up. So we have just cultivated a nice, upright, grounded, seated posture. And take a moment, you might close your eyes, or they can stay open, whichever you prefer. Just take a moment to recognize that you're here now. And just bring your full awareness to this sensation of being here now. So bring your mind into recognition of the physical experience of being in whatever space you're in this moment. Notice what it feels like to be here now. Notice if there's areas of your body where you tend to clench or grip. A lot of us have our habitual places. It might be we clench the jaw. It might be we furrow the forehead or kind of furrow between the eyes. So just recognize if you're holding some habitual tension. And see if you can allow any area that might be gripping or clenching to soften a bit. Perhaps try softening the roof of the mouth and seeing if that has an effect on the clenching or gripping that you might typically hold. And then you might want to open your eyes. We're going to do a little type of breathing technique. I'm going to suggest that you place your left hand on your heart and your right hand on your belly, just so that you've got your hands on you and you're going to be able to maybe feel your breathing a bit more. And so we're going to do a little pattern of breathing. We're going to do 2 full deep breaths in. And then we're going to hold the breath for 2 counts. So 1, 2, And then we're going to let the breath empty for 4 counts. So really let it go. 2, 3, 4. So just like that, we're going to inhale for 2. 1, 2. We're going to hold for 2. 1, 2. And then we're going to release the breath for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. So continuing like that, inhaling for 2, 1, 2, holding for 2, 1, 2, and then releasing the breath for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. So just do it at your own pace. I'm not going to count it anymore, but that in-breath is for 2 counts, however long your in-breath. The retention for 2 counts. And then nice long 4 counts to allow the breath to empty and release. Just continuing on your own. So inviting a lot of breath in, and then just noticing the fullness of that breath as you hold on to it, that retention. You can just feel that breath within you, and then feeling the feeling of letting the breath go and empty. Having an experience of breathing, feeling your hands on your body, feeling how the body moves, the body expands with your inhalation, noticing what happens with your hands on your body as you release your breath. Do this breathing rhythm for 2 more rounds. And after that next exhalation is emptied out, you can release your hands. Let yourself return to a more natural way of breathing. Just notice how you're feeling. And then when you're ready, if your eyes are closed, you can open your eyes. Let's grab onto the knees. We're going to start by lifting up the heart. We're going to do a little bit of like a cat-cow. We're going to inhale and kind of lift the heart and extend the spine. And then as we breathe out, we're going to round back. So kind of hold onto your knees, round your back, drop your chin. So rock forward, inhale, lift your heart, drop your shoulders, breathe in. And then exhale and round back and tuck your chin. Just a few more like that, just waking up the spine here. Lengthening, extending as we breathe in. Rounding, flexing, or dropping back as you breathe out. Just do that 1 or 2 more times. Waking up the spine with breath and movement here. And then just rocking back to sitting up straight. If you want to change the cross of your legs, you could if you kind of want a little change. So let's bring our hands to prayer with your thumbs on your sternum. And as we inhale, it's just kind of like we just did earlier. We're going to extend the spine a little bit, lift the sternum. And then we're going to reach the arms out like cactus arms. And can you kind of draw your elbows back? So now you are kind of squeezing your shoulder blades together and stretching across the front of the chest here. And then we're going to reach the arms up. So stretch up, lengthen up, lift up, big breath. Let's take the right arm now and bring it down on the floor. Bring your hand on the floor. And we're going to stretch over. That right arm, you can bend the elbow. We're just going to stretch over. So your head is kind of under your arm. You could kind of look up under that arm if you like. Take a big breath into that left side. Stretch, stretch, stretch over. And then exhale and come back up. Inhale, bring the right arm up. Exhale, release the left arm down. As that hand is on the floor, we're going to stretch over. You can bend the elbow. Stretch over now. Really kind of reach long and stretch into that right side. You can look up under that arm if you like. Take a big breath. And as we exhale, come back up. Again, let's reach both arms up. Breathe in. We're going to again let the right hand come down, but this time let it come a little bit behind. And then that other arm's going to come across on the knee. And we're just going to gently twist in that direction. It's a nice, easy, gentle twist. Once you've twisted around, take a deep breath in and out. And then just unwind. As you come forward, we're going to again reach the arms up, big breath. And then we're going to let the left hand go behind, the right arm come across, and we're just going to twist in that direction. Nice gentle twist. Twist around, and then deep breath in and out. And then we'll just release back around. Great. Maybe lean forward a little bit, reach your fingertips out. Just start with your spine long as you breathe in. As we exhale, let's just let the back round. Let the back round, low back, mid back, upper back. Let your head drop down. And then we'll draw the belly in and roll ourselves back up. Okay, let's come around to all fours. So if you were sitting on a blanket, you could kneel on a blanket. You could also do this standing with your hands on a chair if kneeling isn't great for your knees. So you might just be kneeling on your mat or on a cushion, whatever. Get your knees beneath your hips, your wrists beneath your shoulders. Really spread the weight out into your thumbs, your knuckles, your fingers. Take a moment and just feel the line of your spine. It's fairly straight now. There might be a little curve in your low back. This is your neutral position. We're going to try and maintain that. So we're going to try not to let the back arch too much. Let's take one leg and press the heel back. Either leg, doesn't matter. Press out through your heel, pull your toes to the floor. So that leg is strong and engaged. Take your other arm and reach it out in front. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Reaching long, fingers to toes. Take a breath. And then we're going to bring the elbow in. We're going to bring the knee in. I want you to lift up in the belly. Bring them towards each other. Lift up in the knee, lift up in the heel. So there's a big core contraction here. Then reach that arm and leg out. Now take the arm out to the side like a right angle and take the knee out to the side like a right angle. Yeah, so the sideways really kicks in here. So we're going to do those two movements. We're going to reach forward and back, breathe in. Then we're going to hug in, elbow to knee, lift up in the belly, lift up in the knee, lift up in the heel. Then inhale, reach out front and back. And then out to the side. Bend your arm, bend your knee, out to the side. Couple more. Reach the arm and leg front and back, breathe in. Exhale, draw up and in. Elbow, knee, lift heel. Inhale, reach out long. Exhale, out to the side. One more time, reach forward, breathe in. Exhale, elbow to knee, lift up that knee, lift up that heel. Inhale, forward. Last time, reach out to the side, bent knee, bent arm. Good work. We're going to come front and back, hold here for a breath, and then release the hand, release the knee. We're going to take a little break, child's pose, before we do the second side. So drop back, round over your bent knees. Release your forehead onto something, the floor or your arms. Breathe in. Let the breath go. All right, come back up to all fours. So we started by taking one leg back. Let's take the other leg back. Press back through your heel. Pull your toes to the floor. Fire up that leg, strong. And then reach the other arm out in front. Holding here. Take a breath. And then bring that elbow in, bring the knee in, and as you hug them in towards each other, can you lift the knee and lift the heel? And then reach out long, breathe in. Then elbow goes out to the side, knee goes out to the side. Bent knee, bent arm. Trying to get them at the height of the hip and shoulder. And then reach out long, breathe in. Again, we're gonna hug in. So bring the elbow to the knee, lift up in the knee, lift up in the heel. Reach out long, breathe in. And then exhale, arm and knee out to the side. Bend them, lift them, height of the shoulder and hip. Once again, reach the arm and leg long, breathe in. Bring the knee in, bring the elbow in, lift up, pull up. Reach out long, breathe in. Arm and knee out to the side as you exhale. One more time, reach out long, breathe in. Exhale, elbow to knee. Lift the knee, lift the heel. Reach out long, breathe in. Last time, out to the side, elbow and knee, lift them up. Last time, reach out long, big breath. Nice work. Then release your hand, release your knee, and again, sit back into child's pose. Round over your legs. Breathe into your back. Check in. How are you feeling? We're bringing our full awareness to our present moment experience. So we're feeling the breath, feeling the body. Just really grateful to have this opportunity to just dive into what we're doing now. Everything else, we can just let it go for this time here. So take one more breath. Feel the aliveness of your body. And then with your next breath in, reach your arms out and make your way to downward facing dog. So we're going to spread our hands into the floor, or maybe we're doing it on our chair. We can have our hands on our chair. We're going to pull the hips way up and back, away from the hands. Let the head just relax as you shake your head a little side to side, releasing your neck. You might shift your weight a little side to side, or you could bend a knee and press a heel down. Just start to move a little bit in your down dog in a way that feels right for you this morning. Loosen up. Breathe deeply as you're here. Notice how the world looks when you're upside down. Just a different perspective. And then let's bend both knees a bit. Take the hips way up and back as we breathe in. Let the breath and release and empty all the way out. And then we're going to walk our hands back towards our feet. Walk your hands back, heels drop down. End up folded over bent knees. Nice loose ragdoll, your upper body just hanging out, arms and head heavy. Really feel your feet grounding down. And then let's draw the belly in and begin to roll ourselves up. Just taking your time to come up. Slowly, gradually unfurling the spine until eventually you're standing tall. All right, we're gonna visit SOAS Wake Up. We haven't done that in a while. And I think this is a nice thing to do because you can do this anytime, anywhere. I do this a lot when I'm biking or if I've been sitting for a long time. This is just to stretch out our hip flexors. So we're gonna stand with our feet hip distance apart and step behind with one foot. And the foot that goes back is, maybe a foot distance or a little less behind the front foot. And your feet are gonna be hip distance and your feet are facing forward. So one leg behind, 1 foot forward, hands on your hips. So begin with your weight in your back foot. And then lift that back heel up and bend your front knee and pour the weight into your front foot. And then return the weight to your back foot. So we're just lifting the heel up and shifting the weight forward, bending the front knee, and then returning the weight to the back foot. Lifting the heel, shifting the weight forward, and then going back. It doesn't have to be an up and down. It's more like sliding the drawer forward and then sliding the drawer back. So we're just shifting the weight, lifting the back heel, bending the front knee, and then returning the heel down. So this time, shift the weight to the front foot. The weight is on the front foot. You're kind of leaning forward. Bring your hands to heart. So you've got the weight on your front foot. Your knee is bent. And now take your back heel. Keep yourself leaning forward, but take your back heel and slowly lower it for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2. The back heel comes down, but the weight is still in the front foot and you're leaning forward. Now begin to lift your sternum up, 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 up. So where your thumbs are against your sternum, that's lifting up. And you may start to feel a stretch in this back front of your hip. And to deepen that stretch, we'll take the arms and reach them up, lifting the ribs, lifting the shoulders, and maybe feeling even more of a stretch in the front of this hip here. Take a breath, and then let your arms come down and step that back foot in. We'll do it on the other side. Just step behind, about a foot distance behind or a little less. Your feet are about as wide as your hips. Start with your weight in your back foot. And then lift the heel up and shift the weight to your front foot, bending your front knee. And then return the weight to the back foot. So just shift your weight forward, bend the knee, and then return the weight back. Really sort of a simple movement here. But this actually kind of helps with ankle mobility. Shifting the weight forward, bending the knee, and then taking the weight back. So this time we're going to shift the weight onto the front foot. The front knee is bent. We'll bring our hands to heart. We're kind of leaning forward. And then we're going to let the back heel go down for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2. The heel comes down, but the weight is still forward on the front bent leg. You might have even bent this knee a bit more. And then with your thumbs against your sternum, start to lift your sternum up, 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 up. Maybe you start to feel a stretch in the front of that back leg. And then let's take the arms and reach them up as well. Lift the ribs, lift the shoulders, big breath. And then let your arms come down and step your foot in. So sometimes that just can create a little opening here. If you're feeling tight, we tend to be really pulled forward here, and that kind of affects our posture because we're sitting all day. And this is just a way to open that up. All right, let's come to stand at the front of our mats. Stand with your feet planted, stand nice and tall. Take your arms and reach them out, and then inhale and reach them up. As we exhale, let's swan dive forward, folding over your nice little bit of bent knees here. Take a big breath into your upper back. As you exhale, extend your spine forward. You might have fingertips on the floor. You might bring hands to shins. Extend between your shoulder blades. Again, inhale into your upper back as you round over. And exhale and extend the spine. Maybe hands come to shins. All right, fold over, bring your hands to the floor. We're going to step back to downward facing dog. As we get here, let's take the hips way up and back as we breathe in. And we'll exhale to straight arm plank. All right, pushing the floor away, spreading the weight out into the fingers and thumbs, the knuckles, pressing back through the heel, lengthening through the crown. Whenever we're in plank, we know we could always let the knees drop behind if that's better for us. Let's bend the elbows a bit now. Elbows pointing back towards the feet without dropping the hips or dropping the head. Keep your alignment here. Take a breath. And then let's let the knees come down and we'll lower our bodies down to the floor into prone mountain. Heels of the hands slide back, tops of the feet on the floor, lengthening toes to crown. Let's inhale up to baby cobra, pulling the heart forward and maybe pressing a little back through the heel of the hands, reaching back through the toes. We'll exhale back down. Again, let's inhale up to baby cobra. And then we'll lift our hands a little bit off the mat. Let's lift the elbows toward the ceiling and hug them in a bit as we're pulling the heart forward. And then we'll release the hands, release the chest. This time, keeping the hands down, we'll inhale up to baby cobra. We could stay here, or we can come up a little higher to cobra. And then we'll lower back down. Nice. Let's push back up to knees. Curl the toes under and lift the knees. And then lift the hips up and back to downward facing dog. We'll breathe in and out here. And then looking forward, let's step our feet up towards the hands, plant our feet beneath us. And we're just gonna sweep the arms out here. Inhale and rise up, reach up. And exhale, arms down at our sides. Great. Stepping to the front of the mat if you're not already there. Root down, inhale, reach out and up. Exhale and swan dive forward. We'll just bring our hands to the mat and step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Pull those hips up and back. Exhale to straight arm plank. Take a breath here. Exhale and lower all the way down. Prone mountain. Inhale up to baby cobra or cobra. Exhale back down. Make your way up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. Look a little forward, walk your feet up toward your hands. Plant your feet beneath you. Sweep your arms out, inhale and rise. Exhaling, arms down at your side. And again, root down, inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, swan dive forward, fold over. Hands to the floor, step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Exhale to straight arm plank. Now, from here, we can hold the straight arm plank. We could be down on our knees. We could be doing this with just with our hands on the chair. But could you kind of gently rotate your hips a little towards the computer and then back towards the floor? And then rotate your hips a little towards away from the computer and then back to the floor. So it's just a slight contraction of the core. You're just slightly turning your hips to one side and then back toward the floor, slightly turning your hips to the other side and back toward the floor. One more time. Slightly turning the hips and back to the floor. You could be on your forearms too if it's too much for your wrists. And back to the floor. Great. Drop to knees. Let's lower all the way down. All right, we're going to try that on our forearms. So bring your forearms underneath you. You can measure fingertip to fingertip, elbow to elbow. Then slice down, push down to lift your chest. Curl the toes under. We can come up to knees or we can lift the knees. And we're going to do that same thing. We're going to slightly turn the hips towards the computer and then back to center. It's not a big movement. But even in that little bit of movement, you're going to activate your obliques quite a bit here. And back to center, a little bit to the other direction, and back to center. One more time. Just a little bit of a turn, and back to center, and a little bit of a turn. Nice job. All right, drop to knees, lower down. Let's take the elbows wide. Let your head rest on your hands. Let your shoulders relax. Maybe shake your hips a little. Try to release any tension that might have built up. That last movement was pretty hard. And then begin to press the tops of your feet into the floor. Press the front of your hips into the floor. And then lift your legs up, pointing your toes back. Reach long out through your toes. And then ever so slightly turn your heels in. And then hug your heels in towards your midline. With your legs lifted, feel the inner line of your legs fire. Then separate your legs about as wide as your hips. Do that again. Hug the heels in towards your midline, and then separate the legs. One more time. Hug the heels in, and then separate. Maybe lift them a little bit higher with a breath, and then relax them down. Nice job. Let's bring our arms alongside the body, palms up. Fingertips reaching back. We'll start the same way. You're just hovering your head now. Press the front of the hips down to lift the legs up. Reaching back through the toes. Reaching back with the fingertips now, let's inhale and lift the chest up. So the sternum is pulling forward. The fingers are reaching back. The toes are reaching back. Now, can you lift up a bit more? And take a breath. And then exhale. and release them. Nice work. Bring your hands next to your chest. Push all the way back to child's pose. Sit all the way back on your heels. Let your spine round over your legs. And breathe in and out here. Grateful to be alive in this moment, in this body. Let the breath flow. And with your next inhale, reach the arms out and again, make your way up to downward facing dog. So grounding through the hands, let's take one leg up in the air. Take a breath. We're going to bend the knee. We're going to drop the heel towards the bum, bending the knee. And then we're going to swing that knee up and in, just like we did on all fours. Can you lift the knee, lift the heel? Hug them up nice and high. Then look forward and try and step that foot out in front. If you need to drop to the back knee and then step the foot out in front, that's fine. If you want to be doing this holding onto a chair, just coming into a lunge using a chair, that would be fine as well. So your feet are hip distance apart. You're in a low lunge. Let's bring our forearms onto the front side. So we call this externally supported lunge. So we can press back through the heel and lengthen through the crown of the head. Try to feel a nice long line of your leg and your torso. And then we're going to bring our hands to heart, internally supported lunge. Much more work to hold here. If you need to go back to arms on your leg, you can. From this internally supported lunge, we're going to take a breath, lengthening the spine. And then we're going to twist in the direction of that front leg. Twist to the right. Twist around, ribs, chest, shoulders. Take a breath. And then we'll unwind. Okay. We'll bring our hands back down to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. And then let's take the left leg up in the air, nice and high. We're going to keep the knee where it is, just drop the heel towards the bum. You could even lift the knee a little higher. Take a breath. And then hug that knee in. Hug the knee in towards your chin. Lift the knee, lift the heel. Get that leg up high. Use the core a little bit here. Look forward and step that foot through to lunge. Or make your way into a lunge, any way that works for you. Once you're in this low lunge, let's bring the forearms onto the front leg. Pressing back through the heel and lengthening through the crown. You could stay here or bring your hands to heart, internally supported lunge. Take a breath here, lengthening your spine. As you exhale, we're going to twist to the left, the direction of that front bent knee. Twist around and take a breath. Exhale and unwind. Bring your hands to the floor, step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Let the breath go. We're going to lower to straight arm plank. Take a breath here. Exhale, bend the elbows a bit. Try not to let your hips drop. Try not to let your head drop. Take another breath. Exhale and lower all the way down to the mat. Prone mountain. Long toes to crown. Inhale up, baby cobra or cobra. Exhale back down. We'll make our way up and back to downward facing dog. Big breath in and out here. Then looking forward, let's walk our feet up toward our hands. We'll plant our feet beneath us. And let's sweep the arms out. Inhale and rise. And exhale, arms down at your side. Great. All right, let's turn towards the computer and take our legs wide apart. So big, wide warrior stance here. We'll turn the left foot in and we'll turn the right foot out. So let's really get this back foot solidly planted, even weight inner and outer edges of that foot. And we're going to push down with this foot as we bend the front knee and as we straighten the front knee. So as we're bending and straightening the front knee, we have shoulders over hips here. Spine is upright. And we can decide if we want to bend a little deeper or maybe not as deep. But see if you can, get into this sort of side lunge position. So you feel some work in this back hip, ideally. Great. The next time the knee is bent, pause there. This front foot, we're going to lift the heel just a little bit off the floor. And as you lift that heel up, now imagine you're pulling the heel back towards your midline, just to fire up the inner line of that leg and into the pelvic floor. So you're pulling that heel imaginarily back to center. We're going to take a breath, and then we're going to let the heel drop down. Great. Let's bring our hands to heart. We're going to turn the chest more towards right ahead, towards where your gaze is, along the long line of your mat. Let's reach the arms up, breathing in. We'll exhale, take the arms wide apart. So again, broadening across the collarbones like we did at the beginning of class, lengthening through the back of the head. Take a breath. Exhale your back hand on your back leg. Turn your right palm up. Inhale that arm, stretch up. That back hand can slide down a bit as the top arm reaches up. And then let that top arm come over. Let's tip over from the hips. Bring the forearm on the thigh. Take the back arm out in front. We're going to sweep it overhead alongside the cheek or ear, thumb to the ceiling, pinky to the floor. Let's roll the belly and chest towards the computer. Reach long with that arm, and then release the head to look down. Take a big breath as you're reaching long with that top arm, and then sweep that arm down. Sweep it behind you. Inhale and rise back up to Proud Warrior. Again, exhale, back hand on your back leg. Other arm reaches up. Take a breath here. Exhale, bring that arm back down. Tip over, forearm on the thigh. Back arm sweeps overhead. Roll the belly and chest towards the camera or computer. Release your head to look down. Reach long with that top arm. Big breath. Sweep that arm down in front. Reach back behind you. Rise up to Proud Warrior. Broad breath. Great. Then relax your arms. We're going to straighten this front leg. Turn the feet forward. And then go to the second side. Right foot turns in. Left foot turns out. Hands on hips. Really ground through the back foot as you bend the front knee. And straighten it. Feel your feet planting, rooting as you do this. See how deeply you want to drop into this warrior position here. And then the next time the front knee is bent, pause there. This front heel, we're going to lift it just slightly, and then feel as though you're pulling that heel back. So the energy of the heel is pulling back towards your midline. There's a lot of engagement in the inner and under line of the leg into the pelvic floor. Do that for one more breath. And then let the heel come down. Then bring your hands to heart and just turn the chest towards the camera. Inhale, arms up. Exhale and reach your arms out. Great. Take a breath here as you reach out and broaden and straighten up your spine. As you exhale, back hand drops on the back leg. Turn that left palm up. Inhale that arm up as the back arm drops back. Then let that top arm come forward, tip over, bring that arm on the thigh. Take your back hand, sweep it forward, and bring it up alongside your cheek or ear, thumb to the ceiling, pinky to the floor. Roll the belly and chest towards the camera. Release your head to look down. Reach long with that top arm as you breathe in, and then sweep that arm down in front. Reach it back behind you. Inhale, rise up, Proud Warrior, open and tall. Exhale, back hand on the back leg. Front palm lifts up. Inhale, reach up and back. Exhale, top arm comes forward. Lean over, forearm on the thigh. Back arm sweeps up and overhead. Roll the core to look towards the camera. Release your head down. Reach long. Breathe in. Again, sweep that arm down. Exhale. And then reach back and rise up. Nice big breath. Great. Release your arms. Straighten the front leg. Turn that foot in. Bring your feet together. Standing center. Great. All right, so this is the point where we're going to come down. And if you have a chair, we're going to come to the floor and put our heels on the chair. If you don't have a chair, you could just put your heels on the wall. So you could be with your heels on the wall. If you have a chair or a couch or a bed, you're just going to put your heels on something. And you're going to want to be, your knees, instead of your knees being like right over your hips, have your knees maybe a little further away than right over your hips. So you're lying back, separate your heels about as wide as your hips. And you got your heels on the wall or the chair rather than your flat foot, just your heel. So that you can push down and we're gonna lift up. So we're not gonna come into a high bridge. We're not gonna come into our highest bridge. So you might even feel your low ribs on the floor and you've just lifted up kind of your lower back. And in pressing your heels down and lifting your lower back, you might start to notice that these hamstrings are really working. You could even reach back and feel them. They'll be firing here. They'll be engaged. So then lower back down. So we're lifting the hips up by pressing the heels down, activating hamstrings. And if you lift a little higher, you're going to start to feel a contraction into the glutes. And then lower back down. Take a little break each time you come down and then come back up. Press the heels down to lift the hips. You'll feel your hamstrings engage. And then if you lift a little higher, you're going to start to contract your glutes. And then lower back down. Really nice way to fire up the backs of the legs. Couple more. Press your heels down, lift up, activate your hamstrings, and then lift up a little bit higher so you feel it in your glutes. And then release down and take a little rest, a little break. Let's do 2 more of those. Press your heels down, lift your hips up, feel your hamstrings, and then lift a little higher, feel your glutes, and then lower back down. Take a little break, relax. Last one, lift your hips up, feel your hamstrings, lift a little higher, feel those glutes engaging, squeezing. Good. And then lower back down. Nice work. All right, let's hug our knees in. Hug your knees in, maybe sway, whatever feels nice. Offer that to yourself. Come center, just take your knees apart. Just kind of circle. Circle your knees in, hug them in, take your knees wide. Circle them away from you, bring them together, hug them in. One more time, circling around and hugging in. Great. And then let's release the feet to the floor. We're going to roll to the side and push ourselves up. And we're going to sit again, facing the computer. You might choose to sit up on a blanket. A lot of us are going to be more comfortable with a little elevation. You could also be sitting in a chair. We're going to do just a seated twist. So, and let's just do it with cross legs. So in a cross legs don't feel great. You could do it with your legs out in front, or again, like I said, you could do it sitting in a chair. So let's, just like we started, root the sitting bones down to sit up nice and tall. Take one hand behind. Let's take the right hand behind. Bring the left arm across. So I want you, as you're here, to root down and feel the line of your spine. Just like we did at the beginning, the rooting down of your sitting bones is providing the support. Feel the whole line of your spine as if it ended right at the back of the crown of the head. And with that alignment, just keep that upright alignment and begin to spiral your ribs, chest, and shoulders around that line of your spine. So you're not leaning forward or backwards, you're not leaning to the side, you're just spiraling around that line. See how far you want to spiral. And as your upper body is spiraling around, take that same hip in the direction you're spiraling and bring it, that hip bone back towards the midline. So you kind of stabilize your lumbar spine and then continue to spiral your upper body around the other way. And then take a deep breath in and out. Let the breath empty. And then just like we did at the beginning, take 2 breaths in, retain the breath for 2, and then let it empty for 4. Do that again. Inhale for 2, retain the breath for 2, and then let it empty all the way out on a count of 4. And then release back around to face forward. Let's do that on the other side. Take the other arm behind, bring the right arm across. And once you're here, root your sitting bones down and feel the line of your spine rising up. Nice and tall. So from that alignment, that alignment, spiral around. The ribs, the chest, the shoulders. So you're not leaning your spine forward or back. You're just spiraling around that line. And as we spiral around in this direction, that hip, that left hip might have turned back. Can you draw that left hip bone back in line towards the midline? And then let the upper body spiral the other way. And then take a deep breath in and out. And then with that rhythm, that pattern, take 2 breaths in. And then hold the breath for 2. And then let the breath empty for a count of 4. Do that again. Inhaling for 2. Retain for 2. And release the breath for a count of 4. And then release back around to face forward. Nice. All right, we're going to make our way down onto our backs. So go ahead and lie all the way back. Let's hug the right knee into chest and extend the left leg out straight on the floor. Maybe bounce that left knee or wiggle the foot. Get that left leg loose and heavy. Then hug the right knee in a little bit closer, keeping the left leg heavy. Then take the right leg up in the air, grab behind the thigh, press the leg into your hands, then flex your foot, heel goes up, toes pull towards you, and kind of turn your heel a little bit out and then turn your heel a little bit in. So the bottom flat foot kind of turns away out to the side, and then the flat of the foot faces the ceiling, and then the flat of the foot faces a little bit inward. So it's just eversion and inversion of your heel in a flex position. All right, good. And then point your toes, squeeze your toes, stretch the top of the foot a little bit, and then just wiggle that all out. Slide your hands up the leg a little bit, lift your head, maybe get a little deeper stretch if you like. And then release your head, bend the knee, release that foot to the floor, change legs. Hug your left knee into chest. Slide your right leg out straight. Bounce or wiggle that right foot, get it nice and heavy with that right leg. And then with the right leg heavy, hug the left knee in a little closer. Then lift the left leg up in the air, reach around, grab the back of the thigh, press the thigh into the hands. Flex your foot, heel goes up, toes pull towards you. And then just turn that foot a little bit so the flat part of the foot turns a little inward. And then the flat part of the foot faces the ceiling. And then the flat part of the foot turns out a little bit. Flat part of the foot faces the ceiling. Flat part of the foot turns in a little bit. Flat part of the foot faces the ceiling. Flat part of the foot turns out a little bit. It's a little movement. All right. Flat part of the foot faces the ceiling. Point your toes. Squeeze your toes. And then just wiggle it all out. Nice work. Bend that knee. Release that foot to the floor. All right, so if there's one more movement that your body's craving, you could take one more movement now. And then we're going to start to transition to our final relaxation. So as we make our way to our final relaxation, you might want to put a pillow or a blanket under your head. You might want to cover up with something. You might want to put something under your knees. So you're going to figure out a way that you can be as comfortable as possible lying down. You could even transition to your couch or your bed if you like at this point. So the goal here is to find a way to be as comfortable as possible. And then all the focus and all the work and all the muscle engagement that we've been doing, this is the point in the practice where we let that all go. And we give our bodies and our minds a few minutes to experience relaxation in the awake state. So we're awake, but we're going to get as relaxed as if we were asleep. We're just going to let the weight of the feet and the heels, the weight of the calves, the knees, the thighs, just all heavily release into the floor. The legs are heavy and their weight drops into the floor. We're going to give the weight of our hips to the floor, inviting the belly to just relax, the gut to unclench, just a melting, softening, releasing in the area of the belly. We'll allow the weight of the shoulders to release back into the floor. Let the arms and hands be heavy. Let the palms relax. We'll release the weight of the head back so the neck can relax. Inviting the jaw to soften. The eyes to relax. The forehead to smooth. And as the body relaxes, we'll let the mind come along. Just let it rest, let it be. Just let ourselves be just as we are, however we are. This is resilience. The ability to adapt, the ability to have the flexibility to adapt to new situations, the ability to be strong and engaged, and yet also to be able to be calm, relaxed, open. They're all important, all those qualities. So you can stay lying down or maybe transition to being more awake. I'm going to share a reading with you called The Open Door. A door opens. Maybe I've been standing here shuffling my weight from foot to foot for decades. Or maybe I only knocked once. In truth, it doesn't matter. A door opens and I walk through it without a backward glance. This is it then. One moment of truth in a lifetime of truth. A choice made, a path taken. The gravitational pull of spirit, too compelling to ignore any longer. I am received by something far too vast to see. It has roots in antiquity, but speaks clearly in the present tense. Be, the vastness says. Be, without adverbs, descriptors, or qualities. Be so alive that awareness bears itself, uncloaked and unadorned. Then go forth to give what you alone can give. Awake to love and suffering, unburdened by the weight of expectations. Go forth to see and be seen, blossoming, always blossoming into your magnificence. And it's true. Each of us is full of magnificence. Each of us can always blossom again. It's just like, the natural world around us. Every season, every summer, everything blossoms. So that magnificence, that ability to blossom, it's within all of us. So that's our practice this morning. You can stay lying down, you can transition back and say hello or goodbye. You can head off if that's what you need to do this morning. It's been wonderful to be with you. Thank you for being here. Have a lovely day.